You are listening to AP Taylor Swift, the podcast for Swifties who are all about the lyrics. We're your hosts. I'm Jen.
I'm Muncie.
And I'm Jody.
And we are your unofficial professors of Taylor Swift.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of AP Taylor Swift. This week, we are doing a deep dive, and we are going to be deep diving the song 15 by Taylor Swift, was on the album Fearless, came out in 2008. This week's conversation is a continuation of our episode last week, which was on the topic of time. I brought the song 15 to the table, talking about how it's a moment in time, uses time as a theme, all kind of fascinating stuff that you should definitely go back and listen to if you have not already. But this week we decided, why not go a layer deeper into this very beloved classic Taylor song that we mentioned this briefly last week. It just gets more and more powerful with time. And with that, Jen, do you want to talk to us about how we do deep dives?
We will be thinking about who is the I, who is the you, so who is speaking, who are they speaking to, and what is the purpose of the song. And then at the end, we'll come around and we'll each say what we think the purpose is. If we agree, if we disagree, if we're doing different shades of the same color, we'll see. As you said something about a moment in time, and this is just truly for me, I just need the memory. We recently talked about A Wrinkle in Time from a song.
Yes.
What song is that?
Feel so high school.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, it was so recent and my brain just like could not.
Me? The blink of a wrinkle in time.
Yeah.
Blink of a wrinkle. You probably edited this episode, didn't you?
I did. You're right. That's why. Dear listeners,
so true.
The songs, when we're able to just like pull out the lyric right away, it's probably because we're the ones that did the edit and so heard it again and again and again.
100%. Yes. Yeah. Helps. That's so valid. If it's that, yeah, that's so
but
valid.
Still very impressive nonetheless.
Again, the things I could do with my brain space if it wasn't all Taylor Swift lyrics would be astounding.
All right. So 15. We often start by discussing the title of the song, and I do think this one does do some legwork. That, like the word 15, I mean, it immediately tells you that you're probably going into a song about being 15. Like it sets it very specifically. Like this isn't teenage years, or high school. This is being 15. Yeah, it's so specific.
Yeah, I think this is the first time she used a number as a song. Now in her discography, we have 7 and the 1. 15 though is the first time. 7 is another one, and in that one we did a deep dive of 7. We debated it's probably 7 years old, but it also could be 7 feet because it was
we
7
talked about
feet in the
swing
swing
jumping.
Yeah.
I think also if this had been later on, this may have been a track 15, but because maybe it was early on, it's a track 2.
There was no track 15 in
she
Fearless,
started to do this thing where if she has a number, sometimes
we have 22
with the track.
I was going to say that is also an interesting one to me, that it's spelled out. It's not the number 1, number 5. It is the word 15. I don't think that means anything, but just the fact that the 2 albums later, we get the song 22 and it's 2-2.
Yeah, how can we forget her other number song, 10 milliliters?
That was so good. You got my most unattractive laugh out of that, which is how you know it's so sincere.
That's a deep LOML, guys. LOML.
Deep cut from our Torture Poets Department track release reaction episode. So also an unhinged recording day.
That she picked the 15 as a title, but also 15 as the age that she's talking to here, because I think now that we've grown up with this song and it's been out for almost 20 years, we know exactly what it's about. We have this association. If somebody says Taylor Swift and 15 in the same sentence, like everybody knows exactly the moment in time that we're jumping to. But 15 by itself as a number is a really random age that typically in pop culture is just not something people talk about very often. Like you have these milestones that are created. 13 going on 30 was a thing, and like 13 is your first teenage year. I think sweet 16s are a really big thing. At 18 or 16, you get your driver's license. At 18, you're getting the right to vote, and 21 is like a big, everyone gets to drink holiday party in the United States. There's these ages, and you mentioned 22 as well, Jody, but like she has picked these ages that aren't your typical ages that people think about.
Well, and we'll get to it in the first stanza, but it is referring to like freshman year, so it's like the beginning of high school. But to your point, Monzi, like it's not that when you turn 15 you get to start high school. You're often turning 15, or you just
during
turn like
freshman
it's
year.
not it's not that day that milestone happens. And as we get into the song, just because we all know this song, she's not talking about a birthday. She's talking about like the year of 15. Yeah, the age of 15.
Yeah, let's get into it because I think it'll help illuminate the title. You take a deep breath and you walk through the doors. It's the morning of your very first day. You say hi to your friends you ain't seen in a while. Try and stay out of everybody's way.
The nostalgia that I feel at that opening stanza. Back to School was my all-time favorite. I mean, we're an AP Taylor Swift podcast.
Best.
Yeah, we obviously loved school.
We're trying to relive it so much right now.
When I tell people I do this podcast, I say I host the dorkiest Taylor Swift podcast you will ever listen to.
We should get an award with that official title. But yes, it's undisputed.
We'll make a plaque for ourselves.
But I used to love high school orientation, any kind of school orientation, when you go and you find out your classes and your teachers and where your locker's going to be. Especially freshman year, there was such an excitement because middle school, for me at least, really felt like the end of a very significant chapter. I remember being really emotional in 8th grade, and there was this whole closing party thing that we did in school. And
and then you went on your trip to Italy and found out that you had a look-alike who's a pop star, and then that pop star's partner.
I see what you did there, but I went on a trip to India actually after my 8th grade, so it's like not that far off. But yeah, okay, but that's right. Maybe it's because of the shows of the time, because like with Lizzie McGuire and everything, like they really made a big deal about that transition. It was very significant in TV. I think American high school is such a thing, and we talked about it in our high school episodes. But yeah, these like 5 lines really capture, I think, just the deep breath, the walking through the door, that like feeling of familiar faces, but also completely being in a new environment. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I think what's interesting for me is the ain't. You say hi to your friends you ain't seen in a while.
Country
she's
Taylor.
a country singer, Jody.
I know, but like it immediately, but also the idea I always associate freshman year of high school with like going to a new school. So it's not necessarily old friends, but also that might have been, I went to the same school for 8th grade and high school, but in 9th grade, the class size like doubles or triples.
Right. Yeah.
So again, like I bring in my own experience. Also, I was 14 in my freshman year. I didn't turn 15 until my sophomore year. So I'm like, so I was like, Nancy, how do you know it's freshman year? And literally the second verse is it's your freshman year.
Well, I turned 15 in freshman year.
Right.
But
and
also
many people did.
But I think that is normal. It's like it is some familiar faces, but then also a lot of new faces because it usually feed into bigger schools.
Yeah, and I think like regardless of the specifics, like it's not like, oh, well, I wasn't 15, so this song doesn't resonate for me. That doesn't matter. It's just for me, the whole idea of it being freshman year doesn't resonate. It's the idea of being the age of 15. Like that's the prescient detail. But I think that line, you say hi to your friends you ain't seen in a while, just even if I didn't hear the title, really grounds me in this isn't just the youth. The youths, sorry. Another good movie.
It captures so much of the anxiety, but also like a little bit of excitement. So the first 3 lines is the nerves, I walk through the door. It's your first day. We know, okay, there's something nervous here. But then there's also say hi to your friends. So that's exciting. You get to see your friends you haven't seen in a while, but you also try and stay out of everyone's way, which does feel very freshman year of high school, freshman year of college. Even like the first time you're at a job of like, you know, you may click with some people quickly or whatever, but you also kind of want, you know, it's just the nervousness of starting something new where there's some things that are exciting and some things that are really terrifying. And you're like, how do I stay small in this moment? Like nobody noticed me. Please don't see that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Very female experience. You don't want to come in hot.
Yes.
But also in addition to whether you're feeding into a school with other schools or not, it's the first time that you're interacting with kids who are older than you in a very pivotal moment of time. We talked about this in the last episode, that the difference between 15 and 18 or 15 and 17 is really significant at that phase. And so as a freshman, you're actually interacting with real adults. Like 18-year-olds in your school are quite literally real adults. And I felt this way freshman year of college too. It's like 18 and 22 is like big difference. And yeah, so like you meet people who might be driving and have cars and, you know, like have real jobs, and you're this little kid who just got here.
Yeah.
So staying out of everyone's way, like to me feels like the little like holding your books, like bumbling around. You're like, oh my God, there's adults here. And just kind of trying to stay out of people's way.
The next stanza kind of gets into that.
I was just gonna say.
Okay, I'll go to read the next stanza. It's your freshman year. We're clearly defined now. It's your freshman year, and you're going to be here for the next 4 years in this town, hoping one of those senior boys will wink at you and say, you know, I haven't seen you around before.
This is where Taylor loses me. I did not want to make eye contact with a senior boy.
Me too. I was like, I would never.
No.
Please stay away from me.
See, it's also, though, that, like, if a senior boy, like, thought you were cute when you were a freshman, that would have been exciting and, like, terrifying and nerve-wracking.
Terrifying and creepy. Like, you're an adult. Like, see previous mentioned real adult statement.
I don't know if when we were 15 and 16, we would have seen it as creepy, but as adults, we can look back and be like, what's wrong with that senior boy that he's talking to a freshman girl?
I have like a 1 degree of separation Taylor Swift moment here. Alex Paul, who of the Chainsmokers, was a senior in my school when I was a freshman, and he just did the Fate of Ophelia remix that she shared.
Did he wink at you?
No, he did not. He was dating a sophomore. And if he did wink at me,
I'm like 80% sure your school is fake based on all the stories you've told.
I'm on the board of trustees. I hope it's not fake. It does. I don't go. My high school always felt like Harry Potter because it was part boarding school, and I didn't know boarding schools were real. I thought like that's where bad kids went until I went to this school. I was not a boarder.
Like you didn't have like football, but you had like fencing, and then you had like music videos filmed there. Every story about your high school is
Midwest or Southern school. So yeah,
I had fencing, just FYI, and music videos on mine too. Just Devin Wertheiser went to my high school, just very famous.
See, anyway, that's my 1 degree. He was a senior boy when I was a freshman, Alex Paul of the Chainsmokers. And if he looked at me, I think I would have been like, I think I was just so heads down in my own world that I didn't know senior boys existed. And I was like, please don't talk to me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about you, Jen. I can 100% guarantee I would have thought it was creepy. I didn't
really do any cross grade like talking to people for the most part,
but may not have found it creepy.
I don't think it would have even dawned on me. But I just think that the point I'm making is I just think that there is a lot of like clear adult hindsight of like that is gross and creepy and don't do that. That it's much more muddled and gray, I think, for most high schoolers.
This podcast says so much more about us than it does about Taylor Swift.
Okay, but we represent Swifties everywhere.
I don't think I talked to a single senior my entire freshman year or probably my sophomore year.
Or my junior year, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. I definitely talked to seniors in my junior year.
Or my senior year.
This town is really interesting because, like, duh. Like, it's an interesting fact to call out. Of like,
it's giving moves around a lot as a child.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Which is just not it doesn't sound like our experiences, but I think you do have. What was I just reading? I was just reading a book where the person like moved around a bunch in high school.
Was it a Christmas holiday movie?
No, it was a book, but it was a rom-com book. Abby Jimenez. It was one of
new town.
It could also be like this town. I mean, it is kind of a weird phrase, but it could also be like this high school is my town. Like I'm going to be here in this place. It could also be, this was not my experience. So I went to a private K-12 school. So talking about going from middle to high school was zero difference for me. I just moved to a different building on the same campus. But I do know that there are some public high schools that like are like almost sprawling towns. They have so many buildings. They're so massive.
I said it on the last episode, but I actually, the very first time that I saw my high school, I felt like it was a city. Like it looked like a city to me. It was so big comparatively. Also, my high school had over 2,000 people, so it was like really massive. But yeah, I like the idea that she could be referring to the high school as a town and like all the fellow students as townspeople, you know, like I think that's
The
kind
Sarahs
of
and the Hannahs.
endearing. Yeah. The moves around was also my first guess. But it's interesting because she had familiar faces that she sees here. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
get the sense that she's been in the system for a little while.
Yeah, but she also sounds like she wants to flirt with senior boys, which like cannot relate. Anyway,
And she hopes they'll say, I haven't seen you around
like don't talk
before.
to me.
So maybe
Don't
she's
wink at
been
me. Be like, do you have something in your eye?
she's been around, but not for that long.
I think the key thing here, though, is like she's not even daydreaming about like dating a senior boy. She's just dating
Wink.
about an older boy, being like, "Oh, you're cute." Like that's the extent of her
let's-
daydream.
Yeah, but I think then we get into the chorus, and then I'm very curious: is this a daydream or is this the experience now? Like, what has shifted? So, because when you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, you're going to believe them. And when you're 15, feeling like there's nothing to figure out, well, count to 10, take it in. This is life before you know who you're going to be at 15. So, yeah, what's happening? Yeah.
Knowing what comes further in the song and that we get like more actual specific moments of relationships, I think this is a chorus that will change
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Like in some ways, to me right now, the chorus is foreshadowing of like the opening scene is you're walking in the first day of freshman year, and then there's this foreshadowing moment of like, hey, this year is going to be really impactful.
Right.
This year is going to be confusing. A lot's going to happen, and like take a moment because like everything's about to change. Sort of
Yeah.
that before and after we talked about last week with time.
Yeah, it is interesting. Because like right before the line is, you know, the winking and saying like, you know, I haven't seen you around before. That's not an admission of love by any means, but then it gets right
Thank
into
God.
when somebody tells you they love you. So there is a little bit of like a leap that happens here where
We've
we're
hit the gas pedal. And we're like, wait a second. How
right,
do we go from
exactly.
winking to
There's
love?
a little bit of an escalation that happens from the winking to the tells you they love you. So
I do love talking about high school relationship episodes with Monzi.
a little bit
Because she
of a-
literally did jump from winking to love
High
to
schoolers
literally
should
did.
slow down.
It's like, oh, when you're 15, somebody tells you they love you. You're obviously going to get married
What's
to
that
them
like,
and have
Monty?
a kid and like
Guaranteed.
you're going to believe them.
This was their first dance song.
It should have been missed opportunity. But I also really like the feeling like there's nothing to figure out because in the
Yeah.
first stanza, I mean, this is why I think you're right, Jen, with the foreshadowing is in the first stanza, it does feel like there's a lot to figure out. Like she's walked in, she's trying to stay out of everybody's way, just like hoping. It does feel a little bit more uncertain. But then in the chorus, it says, you're 15, you feel like you've got everything figured out already. We're not quite there yet, but maybe we'll get there.
And I love the count to 10, take it in, especially like your song called 15. We're saying count to 10. I don't know, just like playing with the numbers, like count to 10.
She is.
It's also such a early like anti-anxiety technique. Just count to 10 and you'll be fine. Take it in. But that's kind of what she's doing, right? Like she's like, just breathe, take it all in. This is what your life is like before you actually have your life.
Well, and I feel like, I don't know about you two, but at that age, I was so eager for time to move. I was ready to like get through things, to move on, get my license, to start growing up. And it's interesting for someone who was not that much older than 15 to already be like, hey, this is my advice, 15-year-olds. Pause and take it in.
Yeah, take a beat.
I was pretty depressed at 15, so I think my life experience at 15 is going to be very different.
I have always been like a very try to stay present in the moment kind of person. So like I remember in 8th grade very specifically like walking through the halls of my middle school just being like, take it in, like this is it, life's gonna change. It's like very dramatic. Dramatic is the way to say it.
An 8th grader having nostalgia is so funny.
It's so ridiculous. But that in the moment I was like, this is gonna change. And like my roommates and I in college also had a blog, and in freshman year we wrote this blog about the next 4 years are going to go by so fast and it's just going to blink. Like we have to like soak it in or whatever. And so I love this idea that it's like just a slightly older version giving that advice. But I wonder if like, it's also like, even when you're a 15-year-old, there's a moment of just like reminding yourself and just saying like, take it slow, breathe, take it in. This is life before you know you're going to be like we're in a moment, we're in a specific moment in time. I feel like it could be kind of both, because I think it is time boxed. High school is 4 years, and I think most people do appreciate that it is just a moment in time. It's not something that's going to last forever.
Yeah, and there's something of you're starting that with a lot of people. You know, you're going to be ending it. Like as an adult, like my work bestie who does listen. What up, Sarah? You traitor. She just left for a new job. And it was like, I was so happy for her and so sad. And I was thinking about that a little bit of like in high school, you all graduate together, you all start together. But like when you grow up, those milestones aren't done like as a group. And that does change things. I also feel like we talk about who's the I and who's the you. My theory with the song is the you is that she's writing this song to the younger version of herself, so that she's older writing it to the you is her.
Yeah.
But it also does feel like she's singing, like the
Singing
line
to
of
us.
take it in, count to 10, take it in, like does feel like a directive to younger her, but it also can like hit for us as listeners as well. I don't think it's just to herself.
I feel like, and we should probably get into the next verse, which will validate this.
Makes it much more her.
Yeah, where the verses are the you is she's talking to a younger version of herself, and the choruses are more universal, the universal you. So,
which is also, just call it, because also you, like her listeners at that time were primarily people her age and younger, maybe. So there would have been a lot of listeners in that
15 or younger
age range.
Yeah.
So you sit in class next to a redhead named Abigail, and soon enough you're best friends, laughing at the other girls who think they're so cool. We'll be out of here as soon as we can. So like, very couple big shifts here. One is immediately bringing it into something that is her own lived experience. You sit in class next to a redhead named Abigail. That is very specific.
Very specific.
The irony of laughing at other girls who think they're so cool.
Yeah, because
they think they're cool.
Well,
they're laughing at other girls.
And if that ain't 15.
Yeah, right? That's like the definition of being 15. You're like laughing at somebody else, thinking, but also it's saying that she thinks that she's an outcast if she thinks that the other girls think that they're cool, potentially. That's how I read it. I always read it as...
Yeah, it's the two of them, like, sort of against the world. And I think that's really strengthened by we'll be out of here as soon as we can, of like, this isn't the place where we're at our best or where we belong. So we just survive and we'll be out of here.
But I think what was interesting is it's not like at those other girls who are so cool. Like, it's not like they're the cool girls and we're not. She's also saying they think they're so cool. It's laughing at the other girls who think they're so cool. And then the act is they're laughing. They're laughing at them. So it's interesting because it's like, it feels like Abigail and our speaker think they are cooler than the girls who think they're cool.
See, I read it as, I think you can see it both ways, but for me, I read it as they think those are the cool kids and they think they're so cool, but we're the awkward ones comparatively. But I also think I agree with Jen that like we'll be out of here as soon as we can. Makes me think that they feel like they're the outcasts or the ones on the outside or not the cool kids. But also that's a pretty big jump from we're going to be here for the next 4 years. Like we went from take it in, this is where we're going to spend the next 4 years with all of these people. And now we're like, we're going to be out of here as soon as we can.
I think I sort of read it in the in-between of, because I definitely wasn't a cool kid, surprise, surprise, as I'm 34 wearing a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt right now. It's fine, not much has changed. But the idea of the cool girls or the really popular girls who like think they're so cool, but then so like, okay, they're laughing at that and they're thinking about how they're going to get out of there. That in my mind, this is sort of the interpretation of, well, these girls think they're so cool, but they're probably going to peak in high school. And us, we're nerds now, but like we're in it for the long haul. Like we're going to do greater things after this.
That's what I'm like. It feels like I like the fact that they're laughing at those girls. They're not like up against a wall insecure. But like to me, the laughing motion and then saying like, we're going to be out of here. It's almost like you're talking about the people who think they're cool as the lamer people. It's like, we are actually cooler than the people here. Don't worry, we're going to be out of here as soon as we can. I do agree that it's a big difference, though, from where we were just a second ago of soaking it in and like really taking it in, like, which maybe introduces a little bit of growth. Maybe there's been some confidence, you know, like you meet one person, your best friends, and soon enough, now you have this confidence in you. Like sometimes that's the power of one really good friends. we don't know how much time has lapsed here, but we in every line, it feels like there's a little bit of time passing. You sit in class, soon enough, you're best friends. Now you're laughing at other girls who think they're so cool. And we're going to be out of here in no time. It's just, to me, it shows a lot of growth and confidence.
Yeah, it's also the in-group, out-group mentality that is sort of the like, it's like been proven scientifically that part of adolescence as you're maturing, that for girls especially, there's an in-group, out-group, like tribal mentality, which if you like
watched Mean Girls and saw.
Yeah, but it's also so one of my best friends works with high school students, and she's like read a lot of books about adolescent. I know, she's a saint. She's read a lot of books about like adolescent like development and stuff like that. Her degree was in elementary education, but there is this in-group, out-group where your friends are like your family, like more so than your like blood family, or in my case, my legal family that raised me. I don't know, whatever, how we want to define that, but that's what I see happening there is like, I'm coming in, it's new, it's scary. I found my in group, and you really can, like, teenagers define themselves about who they are friends with and who they are not friends with. Like these little tribes, and it's not always like vicious like Mean Girls, but it is like, these are my people, these are my like ride or dies. And that is different than those people who are they're really good friends. And it doesn't mean you always hate them, but there is an actual psychological development that is happening at that time. And like, your confidence grows when you find your people. And I think that's even true outside of adolescence.
You feel like you belong somewhere.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I think this school that you felt confident of, or that you all of a sudden you felt this new school that you didn't know where you fit in, now suddenly feels like this thing that you are trying to get out of as soon as you can, because you're like, you figured it out in some ways, or you're moving through the motion.
Yeah, and it feels like you're no longer just kind of taking it in. Now you're experiencing it. And I liked what you're talking about, Monty, in terms of the passage of time, because the next verse it really moves through time very quickly. And then you're on your very first date, and he's got a car, and you're feeling like flying, and your mom is waiting up, and you're thinking he's the one, and you're dancing around your room when the night ends. It is
imagine thinking you're dating the one at 15.
Honestly,
that'd be
who does
so
that?
insane.
Who does
Crazy.
that?
It's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, this is an awkward song for me.
Which makes it more fun for Jody and I.
I'm the one who picked it. It's fine. I do love.
Is this your lived experience, Monty?
No, well, mine has a happier ending, but
That's true.
Yeah, like,
fair.
I do love it for those reasons, though, because I do very much understand like the emotions, right?
Yeah.
It's just, but then there's something there to like. There's so much more life that's coming. We'll get into that. But I like, okay, so the passage of time here, you're on your very first date. He's got a car. You feel like flying. Like, so much is happening. And then it ends too. Like, it starts and ends all in one stanza. Like, we're just going on a roller coaster. And I kind of love that she does that, because that is the experience of being 15 feels like that. It feels so, everything is so extreme and just a whirlwind. And I just feel like this song structurally is kind of imitating that.
Well, and we don't know if he's a senior or whatever he is, but we know he's not 15 because he's got a car. So he's definitely older.
Definitely older.
Although in some states you get your
permit, but you can't drive alone. It's a learner's permit.
You have to have like an adult.
Well, it doesn't say he drove her alone. He just says he's got a car. So
it's actually his dad driving in the front.
Never said he drove him.
The implication is there that he's older, but not confirmed.
More than likely, he's older than 15.
Yes.
Which is why mom is waiting up, because she's like,
for sure why mom is waiting up.
God bless the moms, man.
Yeah.
Monty, do you see your future?
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so one thing that I will say, did you guys get like very irritated at your parents? Like, my parents would stay up till like whatever hour I came back till, and I used to get so mad because on most nights I would tuck them in anyways. I was like, you don't stay up this time, like just go to sleep. Like, why are you awake? I'll be fine. And they would just sit there and they'd be like,
go out until I was like a junior or senior.
Same.
And even then I was a theater kid, and I remember having my first co-ed sleepover, and my mom was like totally chill about it. And it's because turns out all the boys were gay that were at that co-ed sleepover. They weren't out at the time, but my mother must have been like, this is a bunch of theater kids. I trust
It's
you. You're
fine.
fine.
I don't think I did anything like crazy, but even if like I was coming back at like midnight because I was at somebody else's house in the neighborhood, like they would just stay up and I'd be like, please, for the love of God, go to sleep.
I think mine did that. They were pretty good. I knew my curfew, and if my parents were always very particular about telling me, like, if you just lose track of time and you're gonna be late, just call us. Don't like rush to drive home. Like, they didn't want me to get into a car crash because I was
Yeah.
trying to make curfew. They were like, and it happened a couple of times because I did have a high school boyfriend. I remember there was one night where we had like a very long, serious conversation, and I just wasn't looking at my phone, and I pulled it out, and it was like 11:55, and so I just called my mom, and I was like, I'm so sorry. We got into a long conversation. I'm leaving right now, but it's going to be 30 minutes. And she was like, drive slow, be safe. I'd rather that than you get into a car wreck.
Maybe
and I
my
did
parents'
appreciate
first
that.
issue was that I didn't have a curfew, so
I
maybe.
didn't have a curfew, but I
curfew
also
seems-
didn't stay out. So, like, I went to dance
Okay,
class
just
and then
me
came
then.
home. Yeah.
Well, it was a personal pet peeve of mine when my mom was waiting up because she was never thrilled about it. She was always pissed off, and I was like, just go to sleep. Leave me
Are you
alone."
not going to wait up for your daughter when she's a
No, I
teenager?
100% will. But she was so like, she was like, one day when you have a child, you'll understand.
The difference is that, like, you're going to have a tracker on Find My Phone.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna watch
true.
this girl drive
Right.
it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Like,
roll
our
it.
parents didn't have
I'm gonna have a
that.
hologram being like, "Where are you?"
Okay, so then we get into the chorus again, and some of it does change, but I also think the overall meaning changes. So I can read the chorus again. Because when you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, you're gonna believe them. And when you're 15 and your first kiss makes your head spin around, well, in your life, you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. I didn't know it at 15.
Well, there was a very important line that we did kind of gloss over. We talked about how it's the night ends, but she's dancing in her room when the
Mhm.
night ends, which is such an innocent image in my head of just like
Yeah.
you come home, you're over the moon, you think you're in
Yeah.
love, and then you imagine like you get a phone call and like a breakup on a phone or something. It's like all of a sudden the night comes crashing down and then it gets into this chorus again.
Wait, why did it come crashing down?
It said when the night ends.
Yeah, but you're dancing around the room when the night ends. I thought that was a good thing.
No, I feel like this is a good thing to debate. I feel like the way that it takes you on a journey, it's like you're on your first date, everything's good when the night ends. And then the way that it gets into the chorus, it makes it feel like the ending of the night is like the literal end of the night, but it's like the ending of a relationship.
I didn't
It's
see
like
it
a
that way at
metaphor.
all. Because then the next chorus is they tell you they love you and your first kid makes your head spin round.
But it says you're going to believe them.
Which implies that it's not true.
That it's
Okay,
not
but
true.
like we don't
Yeah.
know that it's not true yet.
Well, it is because it says in your life you'll do greater things than dating the boy on the football team.
I don't know. I didn't see that previous verse when you're dancing around the room when the night ends. I don't see the night ending as the bad thing in that particular verse. I just thought, the night ended with you dancing around your room because you were so happy with this date and you went to bed kind of like.
I really like the way that
happy.
it's like when the night ends and then
I
it
love
repeats.
that you're the
when
married
night
one that
ends.
married to your 15-year-old
Yeah.
boyfriend, and I'm the one very much
No,
not.
I saw
and I'm
that as
this
like,
is happy.
and that's why I was saying it's such a whirlwind. Like it feels like you're going on this high, you're in this relationship, and all of a sudden you come crashing back down of like the night ends because she repeats it twice too. She says when you're dancing around the room when the night ends. When the night ends,
because the
in
night
that
has to
way, in
end.
that kind of heavy gravitas.
Think
All good nights must
so
end.
we don't have 10 more minutes of you two reading those lines over and over again. One thing I think is that
That's why there's three of us.
I know that it's clear that whatever that relationship was built up in her mind as
Yes.
amazing. Your head spins, you're celebrating, but she does realize that now in retrospect, that wasn't the greatest thing that would happen to her because you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. I didn't know it at 15. So there is this retrospective, like I can remember how incredible that felt, how it was made my head spin, and it obviously didn't work out. We know that. But now, and in that moment, I didn't realize I would do better things, but now I know that. So like
Yeah.
we get that moment of retrospect
Right.
on that.
Which we get even more in the next, which I think is like the pre-bridge, if that's a term. When all you wanted was to be wanted, wish you could go back and tell yourself what you know now, which really reinforces the previous chorus that in your life you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. I didn't know it at 15.
Just saying that that's like such a high in that moment. That's your highlight. You're like, I did it.
Yeah,
I've
because
made
all
it.
you wanted was for someone to say they want you
Yeah.
back, and you're like,
Especially if it's the
pause.
boy on the football team.
Pause.
Well, and I think that goes back to the senior winking at her. Like, it wasn't even that she wanted to date the senior
just
boy.
wanted
It was
someone
just
to wink at.
She
status.
just wanted to be wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also, interestingly enough, I don't know if this means anything, but those are very similar lyrics to what she wrote for Beautiful Ghosts, the original song she wrote for the Cats film, which the chorus is, all that I wanted was
I
to
was
be
just
wanted.
thinking, I was like, where have I heard these lines?
See,
Yeah.
you
You're
edited
right.
that one. See?
Yeah. Mm.
Cats. It always comes back to cats.
Well, and it's and it's the idea of wanting to be wanted doesn't go away when you aren't 15 anymore. Like, that's a pretty
Yeah.
core human desire.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting that when all you wanted was to be wanted, wished you could go back and tell yourself what you know now. I don't think the implication there, at least in me reading it, is going back and saying like, hey, you don't want to be wanted or whatever. It's more of a like, hey, it's more complex. There's more things. You can
Right.
be wanted in different ways. You can, like,
You
it's
can also
not
just want different things. Like, you could still want to be wanted, but you should also
But that's not the end all be all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That, like, it's one part of life, and it's nice to be wanted. There's nothing wrong with that. But when all that you wanted was to be wanted, the locking in, the focusing, and like the willingness to settle for something that's not as good as what you deserve just because you're feeling wanted in that scenario is like, hey, we have other factors to consider here.
Yeah. Bridge?
Yes.
Back then, I swore I was going to marry him someday, but I realized some bigger dreams of mine. And Abigail gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind, and we both cried.
This
There's
is
a lot to unpack
sad.
there.
Yeah, this is a very sad.
I mean,
few
Bridge,
lines.
this is where it all changes, right? Or the
Yeah.
idea of being 15 really changes. We go from this like hopefulness, take a deep breath, to freshman year, this is going to be great. And then you're like, wait a second, the reality. I swore I was going to marry him, but then I was like, wait a second. I realized that there were more things that I could do. I had bigger dreams than just marrying some guy.
I mean, in the Taylor context, it makes me think that she was in like a really nice relationship that she had to stop maybe because she got an opportunity that she couldn't say no to. In the non-Taylor context, it's still like, it makes me think like, what are the bigger dreams I could have chased if I had decided not to marry my husband?
So that's for therapy later.
Well, just to continue on the therapy talk, because I think it does contextualize it. So my parents divorced when I was in 13, but my parents were high school sweethearts. So my context for relationships going into high school was I don't want to date anyone. Like, I don't want to date anyone in high school because I don't want to marry someone that I date in high school and end up like my parents. So I went into high school with a very, I was also depressed, very different frame of reference and frame of mind around the idea of dating in high school.
It's like high school is not about dating and finding that person.
That was not what I wanted. I mean, I had crushes and like, but I went, I think my senior year or fresh sophomore or junior year, like finally went on a date. But like, it just wasn't, I actively did not want to meet someone that I would want to marry in high school. Yeah.
That is interesting. It's kind of liberating in some ways to just think that like, what if that's not your main goal? Because so many kids go into it with that goal of thinking like, oh, we got to find that relationship.
Now, business school, on the other hand, I was like 60% men, 40% women. This is going to be great.
Well, and I think some of it too, and this speaks to the next section about Abigail gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind. That's a sad part. I always assume it's her virginity.
Same.
I think that's the clear interpretation. But everything about this bridge, I guess, to me also reeks of a relatively like religious upbringing.
Yes.
Mm,
I was
yeah.
going to say
That-
archaic, but I like religious more.
Could be both, could be
Sib.
both. But the idea that you're, as a girl, you're thinking about marrying a guy pretty young,
Yeah.
that tends to
Yeah.
come from some
And that you only have one thing to give and it's everything and like
and the idea
give
that
it
a
all,
girl's virginity is all everything she had is
Yeah.
kind of like we read that and we're like, ugh. But if
Ugh.
you were in a religious or more conservative setting at the time, that was a message that was
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to separate where religion stops and society takes over because I think
In America? No.
yeah, in this
Separation of church
country,
and state. Come on.
in this
Doesn't
country,
happen.
and I say that obviously as one of the non-Christians here of just like
some.
like in this culture, like
Right.
it's very much just like the language that's kind of perpetuated in high school and to all young girls, like starting at a very, very early age, that you got one thing and you got to guard it safely and don't let anybody in unless you're absolutely sure.
The freaking flower metaphor. Did either of you hear that one?
Yes.
That your virginity is a flower and if you crumple it up that no one's gonna want it?
Who came up with
No.
that bullshit?
I don't, men.
Is that Christianity? Because that's some bullshit.
It's
that can't be that. It's too dumb. Like it has to be like society. It's not
dumb.
like it's not ancient. Texts,
it's it's American. It's Christian nationalism, which is different. But anyways,
Anyway,
fun.
'cause
But
when-
I know. I just want to say, like, I do think that is a very specific, like, you're young and you are in a worldview that now looking back, like, we know Abigail's a real person who has a wonderful life that has had complexities, I'm sure, but it wasn't like her life was over at 15 because she lost her virginity to someone who didn't care. But I love that they both cried. That she was there with her friend. I love that
line in this song.
Friendship.
Also the way it's sung with the pause and then we both cried. It is such a devastating line. You really feel like the loyalty of friendship in that moment. You feel how deeply emotions affect kids at that age and how it just feels like the world is ending. Like it feels like such a tragic thing. It's like the gravitas of the situation.
And everything in this, we kind of had a lot of boy stuff. She made a best friend. That's great. But in this bridge, it's like, well, I thought I was going to marry that guy. I'm not doing that. She gave everything she had and he changed his mind. And we both cried that those boys were temporary. But coming out of 15, this friendship is what lasted. It was the truest connection. So that in-group, out-group thing continued and that relationship had greater impact than anything else.
I really like that because it's like this song is about these girls and their first relationships, but in a way the song is actually about the friendship, but in a very subtle way. Like nothing about this song is writing about the friendship, but we all know about the song as the song about her and Abigail and that's the thing that lasts. I would love like a grown-up version of the song that is about the friendship.
Well, I was going to say that she like couldn't not be friends with Abigail for all these years after this song. Like you have to. Otherwise the song changes its meaning. If you're like, who's Abigail? I don't know. Well, it's just some girl I was friends with when I was 15. Like, no, like you had to maintain that friendship with Abigail. Otherwise.
I mean, there's other examples of celebrity friendships that have fizzled.
Yes, but this one has so much lore because of this song.
Yeah. But I think the lore also it stays because they're still friends too. Like I don't know, like
the chicken egg situation.
Yeah, like it's also like it's just cool because they remain the friends.
Yeah. So then we go back into the chorus and it changes slightly again. Because when you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, you're going to believe them. And when you're 15, don't forget to look before you fall. But I've found time can heal most anything, and you just might find who you're supposed to be. I didn't know who I was supposed to be at 15.
I think it's interesting, too, that in this, that she has, you just might find who you're supposed to be. That it's even in this retrospect or in this advice, it's not a guarantee. It feels sort of like, again, I mentioned this last week, you're on your own, kid, that 15 could be kind of the first chapter of that, but it's this ongoing journey. And this is a line that really changes meaning of when she first sung it on Fearless versus when she sang it at the Eras tour as a
Right.
surprise song.
This might have been my surprise song because I was
She's
Nashville
still
night one.
Yeah, she's still finding who she's supposed to be. And like the older you get, like the other, it makes me think of the other line of like, how do you know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? Of
Great
the
one.
older you get, the more you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. We skipped over "Don't forget to look before you
Yes.
fall." I love that line too because there's the literal like there's trust falls, there's like the quite literal like looking before you like physically fall is like the play on words, but also like falling in love is a not literal version of like look before you fall in love, look before you fall from grace, look before you fall down. Like
Yeah.
it can have a few different meanings.
Jump then fall.
Yeah, and I like that she just leaves it don't forget to look before you fall. And then the but I found that time can heal anything. It kind of makes it feel like no matter what that fall may be, all the
Totally. Yeah, it
above,
does.
time will heal it. Which is really
Yeah.
cleverly done, which just like blows my mind that she wrote this song when she wrote it.
Well, and we chose this song. Well, you chose this song, Monzi, for time, and I'm seeing it even more as we go through this because it going back to the count to 10. Pause, take a moment, be in the moment. Pause, look before you fall. But also, time can heal anything. So this song is having both these moments of like stop, take a look around, take in this moment. But also, if you're impulsive, time can heal anything.
Yeah, like the mistakes are not forever. It's not the end of the
Yeah.
world. It will heal. We already talked about this line in the last episode of I didn't know who I was supposed to be at 15 and why it gets more epic every time. Jen, you kind of mentioned it too. Of just like from the first time, or maybe Jody, you just said like when you first performed it to now. It's I do think that it is so impressive to me, like how early she felt a sense of calling or a pull to something. And I think a lot of us do feel that at a young age, but it's like, do you listen to it? Like, how many of you take the chance to listen to it? And when we talked about the you of like, who is she talking to in this song? This is one of those moments where it to me, it has always felt both self reflective, but also very clearly like almost like a call to action to the listener of you might just figure it out. I didn't know who I was. Like now we're distinguishing the you and the I for the first time in a really like significant, like powerful way. And it feels like a little bit of like, let me give you some wisdom of why it's going to be okay. I didn't know who I was going to be. So imagine who you could be.
Well, we switched to the I, now that I'm looking up, surprise, surprise, in the bridge. So the bridge is when she switches to, back then I swore I was going to marry him someday. So she sort of is talking to her.
We do get I didn't know it at 15 in
Yeah.
the chorus, the second chorus, but that's right before the bridge. So it's basically
It's
the same.
always this like prescient voice, the one that's
Yes.
looking forward that
Yeah.
talks about the I.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at the end, just kind of repeating some lines, your very first day, take a deep breath, girl. Take a deep breath as you walk through the
You
doors.
missed the la la la's, Jen.
Sorry. La 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 la
La la
Interesting. The la 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 is it's not something other than the SNL monologue song. She doesn't really do that all that much.
Okay, there is a very girl-like innocence to the la 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 singing.
It sounds like Gilmore
specifically.
Girls to me. Because they use that as an interstitial in Gilmore Girls all the time.
Mm-hmm. It like there's something so whimsical and lackadaisical and like
and even the whole what it goes into your very first day, take a deep breath, girl.
Yeah, it's that anxious excitement again where she's going through everything that happened and then it's like she's going back to the beginning again and saying like take a deep breath, like you're in for an adventure,
and walk
some
through the
highs and
doors.
lows. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know which doors that we're walking through. We can assume that they're the ones from the beginning, and it's a recall. It could also be your graduation doors. It could be the doors on the other end.
It's the orange door that came down on the left side of the Eras.
It could be that door. So many doors. She's dating the guy on the football team. And
there's an exit sign above that door. Everyone thinks the exit signs mean something.
What do the exit signs mean? They mean everything.
Exit. They mean exit.
There's also like
safety. It's an OSHA.
The phrase about when one door closes, another door opens, like it could be any door. I think that's the point, is that no matter what doors close, there will always be another door. And you have to just take a deep breath and walk through it.
I'm still laughing at Jody saying the exit signs are about safety and OSHA. She got her OSHA 10-hour construction credential.
I knew you would appreciate that.
I work in the trades. I actually know a decent
That's
amount
what
about
I
OSHA credentialing, so maybe she'll upgrade to her OSHA 30-hour. Oh, she's ready.
The purpose of the song is OSHA credentialing. Next.
Is OSHA.
Such dorks.
3 points of contact on the ladder at all times. That's how
Such
you stay safe.
Anyway,
Different
purpose.
level of nerdiness has been unlocked through those doors.
Well, we had quantum physics on the last episode.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, one more thing about here. This is time as an accordion here too, of like the going back to the beginning. Like, let's assume it is the same doors as in the beginning, and we're starting at like we're opening at the close or we're closing at the start.
Opening at
It is
Is
like
that Harry Potter or Alice in Wonderland?
it's Harry Potter.
Okay, just it was one of the two.
There is a sense of like the time as a landscape that I talked about in our last episode was that you can expand, or actually we brought this up in All Too Well, is that you can expand a moment in time to like really explore it. And so you have this moment at the beginning of freshman year, and then you fast forward to the future, everything that's going to happen, and then going right back at the beginning where it happened and just like giving that advice of what to do. It feels very much like using time as an accordion here to just unpack and then go back to the start. But I do kind of like this idea of deliberately keeping that door vague, and it could be any door, and like no matter what door closes, you can walk through another door again. I like that it's kind of unspecified.
Is that getting into your purpose?
No, you guys go on with your purpose. Let me think about the purpose.
Monzi's purpose is that marrying the person you dated at 15 is a bad idea and you should never do it. And if you did, you should rethink it. Just kidding.
That's the purpose of this song. It's not my purpose. That's not my purpose, to be clear.
I mean, I married my college sweetheart, so it was only a few years later, so, you know.
Does anyone have a purpose?
I don't know if I have like a cohesive, definitive purpose, but one of the things I'm toying with is the question we asked at the beginning, which is, 13 is a pivotal age, 16 is known as a pivotal age, why 15? And I think that every year in your teenage years feels so monumental, and why not? And this is what 15 feels like and deserves to have this monumental idea attached to it. So I almost feel like this is Taylor giving 15 its due that it didn't have previously in pop culture, and contextualizing the things that go on for many people around the age of 15. First crush, first love, first heartbreak, wanting to be wanted, finding kinship and friendship and in groups, but also feeling on the outside and
Becoming famous.
of course, because we all have those experiences. Universal experience. Again, what she does really well is these universal experiences, but make them feel so personal because they are deeply personal for her, but also so much of this feels like any experience that we have. Take a deep breath, walk through the door to the morning of your very first day. We've all had that experience. Definitely all had that experience of first day of school, but we also have had that experience first day of work, first day of college. She's weaving in and out of these very universal experiences, but also these very personal experiences. And I think that's what makes this song that is, again, so personal for her, also very personal for all of us, even though we have talked ad nauseum about how different our experiences of being 15 actually were. And yet this song resonates because there's enough in here for 15 to feel universal, even though our worlds, when you are 15, feels like nobody could ever understand you. Nobody could ever relate to you because you are the only person in the world that feels this way. That's what it's like to feel 15. And this song is definitively saying you'll be fine. It's acknowledging and validating your experience and saying there are things I didn't know at 15 and I'm fine. I believe the same for you. And so I think that's part of the purpose, is just like validating the experience of being 15, as universal as as the experience of being 15 is, and as deeply personal as those experiences are.
I agree. I think I've seen perhaps a celebration in some ways of being 15, all with the highs and the lows of getting to experience things like your first kiss and experiencing things like your first heartbreak. And the to me, it feels like it's like a letter that you would write to your younger self of advising yourself of like, and this is something I've done in therapy, and it always feels kind of weird, but I've had therapists be like, okay, if younger you of this age was here, what would you say to her? And it's an interesting exercise, but to me, the song feels like sort of that exercise of like, if your 15-year-old you was about to start high school, what would you say to her? And this song is a like, hey, like take it in, enjoy this. There's going to be some amazing things and sitting and remembering those amazing things and some hard things, and it's growing up, and growing up is conflict. Like it's not one thing. And a lot of times her songs are picking like one moment or an emotion and going deep in that. And so here, what I feel like she's done is different. She's taken 1 year and tried to capture the range of that year of life. So she's kind of sometimes does high level, sometimes she does really specific. And here she's kind of in between where she's saying, here's a school year is kind of what it feels like. Here's 9 months of your life. Let's capture the highs and lows of it and lessons learned and what I would recommend doing and all of that. And just like, it's like a meditation on being a teenager in high school, which is a complicated time, and it deserves some meditation and reflection probably for all of us as we grow up.
I love that. I think mine is kind of similar to what both of you said, but a little bit different, as always often happens. Is like building a little bit off of what you guys said. I one thing that I liked a lot and resonate with is the why 15 and giving 15 its due. I love the way you said that, Jody. I think like where maybe I like yes and to what Jen is saying of like this letter to your past self. To me, especially when we started talking about the speakers and the you and the I and who is she talking to me, this really feels like a pay it forward kind of song where she's speaking maybe to the next generation of fans or to all of her fans specifically, because in the time that she experienced some of these things to the time that she's writing this, I mean, this came out on Fearless. Like Love Story has become a hit. It's like this massive song. She's become this pop star like overnight. But at the same time, it happened so fast. And I can imagine her in that moment feeling like a real pinch me moment of like, I've made it. This is going to be the greatest thing that ever happens to me. And trying to remind people who are just a little bit younger than you, who are listening, that I have no way to express the headspace I was in just a few years ago. Sometimes you have this moment where you're like, like it's me on the other side of the job that I hated, and then I got a new job and everything's going great. And I talked to some of my friends who are stuck in the old job, and I'm like, how do I explain to you just like how different it can be if you just
They don't
get
get
on
it.
the other
They
side?
cannot get it.
But you want to like when you have made it, or when you've gone through something and you've come out on the other side, you have this urge to just like pay it forward, help out other people. And she especially had this massive fan base of young girls who were going through these pivotal moments. And I think of like, what's a way that you can like pay it forward and help back? And I feel like this song kind of does that. It's talking to every high schooler or will be high schooler for like a generation, and the universalness of it, like setting it up as the using second person to address you while interweaving personal things, talking about these universal experiences like walking through the doors on your first day, establishing common ground. And then the way it ends by saying your very first day, take a deep breath, girl. Take a deep breath as you walk through the doors. It really, to me, feels like a message that's going out. And we were joking throughout this entire time of like, I was in high school and I did end up marrying the guy I was dating. And like, it chose to say, and what's crazy is that I was 17 when the song came out in 2008. I started dating my husband in 2007. This song was very much a part of my life in the early days of my relationship. And as somebody who like grew up listening to her, these songs very much impacted and shaped the way I thought about my relationships. And I remember listening to the song and hearing it in high school, thinking about just like, you'll do better things. Like there are other things. You're not going to give up your dreams just because of this person. When we were applying to colleges, I remember just telling him and being like, I'm going to apply all over the country and I am going to go wherever it takes me. I am not limiting anything just because we're in this relationship. If you want to come along, that's on you. I'm not making any promises. And it was very much like, I think for a lot of young girls, ingrained into your heads of like, don't let yourself settle for a relationship. And I know that meant a lot to me. And I think that might have been like some of her purpose, and especially like talking through the speaker, of just like leaving this kind of message for young girls everywhere.
Not to timestamp when we're recording this too much, but right now this is also reminding me of the current social media trends where people will make videos of like, when you are 20, someone will suggest you do this. It's important that you listen to them.
Yeah.
And it's like cutting back. And like, we don't have video of it, so I don't think we could, but I thought about making one of like, when you're 31 or whatever, you'll get invited to a product marketing mentorship program. It's important you say yes, because that's how I ended up here on this podcast.
We have to make it, Jen. We have to make it.
We have no videos of any of us in those meetings.
Shout out to First Round
video
Fast Track Capital. First Round Capital.
Yeah, I know, but we don't have any. I guess I could probably find old emails.
We can probably have the emails. I remember the email that Monsi sent me for her first one, because I remember, oh my God, I remember it so clearly because I had just broken up with my boyfriend and I had taken myself on a trip to Florida, and I was sitting at this restaurant by myself when I got Monsi's email introducing herself, and I'm like, she sent this whole thing that like she did Indian dancing and she loved Taylor Swift and da-da-da. I was like, oh my God, we have so much
We were like,
in
are we
common.
the same person?
I love it.
I like
And then the first time I met Monzi,
watercolors and Taylor Swift. What?
I know.
And then the first time Monzi and I met was on a Zoom call or a Google Meet call or whatever, with Jody being like, should we do a podcast together? And Monzi and I were like, nice to meet you. Sure.
Yeah, let's go to business together. Why not?
Let's call it AP Taylor Swift, and it's going to be show and tells and deep dives, and it's going to be...
And 2 years later, here we are.
Being in flow.
It is a sense of like, you have these milestones in your moment when you look back where it seems really obvious. And to me, this is like her version of maybe processing that, but then also wanting to share that advice of like, you see your life as like a film strip. And like, this is kind of, it feels that way.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it even goes back to that, the time stuff we talked about in last week's episode of how time can be like before and after that core memory, like from Inside Out or those pivotal moments. But I think what this song is saying is like, you might not even know it's a pivotal moment until after, which is back. Like, which I think is why that social media trend is happening and why it's so sincere. Me saying yes to it was like a Slack message of like, if you want to do this random product marketing mentorship, like fast track 3-month thing. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Not realizing that like 4 years later, my life would be like dramatically impacted by that quick yes decision. Yeah. I had no idea. Yeah. And like, you don't always know in the moment. I think the song is touching on that as well.
Jody, did you know you're going to be on CNN one day?
No. I mean... Yes, but not talking about Taylor Swift. You know, you had big dreams. At 15. Definitely wanted to be famous when I was 15. Did I know that we should be talking about Taylor Swift? No.
We should have started this podcast with what were you like at 15? Like,
maybe that's the Substacks. The Substack for this week is what we were all like at 15.
I love that.
Okay, putting that in.
Things you didn't know at 15.
Oh my God. I thought I knew everything at 15.
When I was 15, I didn't know product marketing was a career that existed.
It may not have existed.
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did.
Pretty sure it didn't.
Anyway, what a nostalgic episode.
I know. I do love doing high school love episodes with Monzi. Like, that's not a joke. It's like one sweet, like it's sweet, and I like love your guys' story, but then it's also so funny to go back and be like, ugh, I was dating idiots in high school, and you're like, yeah.
But it's funny, like through this process, just reflecting on the fact that like this song was very much a song that I was listening to in that early part of my relationship. And all of her songs, you know, were very pivotal in that time of my life. And so it's interesting to like go back and try to connect the lines that way and be like, what were some of the lessons that I took away? So many of the times the things that I say of like, this makes me think of this makes me think of this, like these are thoughts that 16, 17-year-old Monsi was having like at that time in that relationship, and it just stays with you. And they're really mature ideas. They're such mature thoughts. And in some ways, I like very much benefited from her wisdom. And maybe that's why I'm still with my husband. Took her advice sideways.
Well, on that note, join us next week as we deep dive and overanalyze more Taylor Swift music and Monzi's actual relationship. Next time on AP Taylor Swift.
That's all we have for you today on AP Taylor Swift. Be sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on your social channel of choice at AP Taylor Swift to stay up to date. And join us next time as we overanalyze and deep dive into the next Taylor Swift song on AP Taylor Swift.